This is Darrell Edward Brooks Jr. He's 40 years old and is accused of killing 6 people when he drove his SUV into the Waukesha Christmas parade on November the 21st of 2021. You're probably wondering, why is he sitting in a courtroom with no shirt on? It's because he cannot control himself, which is the reason that he is in jail behind running over all those people at the Christmas parade. Mr. Brooks took it upon himself to slap around his ex-girlfriend, and he was angry, got in his vehicle, and he just ran over people. Literally. Allegedly. I'm going to say allegedly because he's pled not guilty. Mr. Brooks cannot contain or control himself in a courtroom. And this is just ridiculous for to be 40 years old. We're going to hope that he gets some type of correction when it comes to his mental state and controlling his anger, and that he would just become a better person than what he is right now. Because this is totally ridiculous that you're sitting in a courtroom with your shirt off, throwing a temper tantrum like a grown little small boy. That's what that is. Little small boy scenario. Here's the video.
This has been a nightmare of a trial, and it's barely kicked off. Darrell Brooks fired his lawyers last week. He has chosen to represent himself on his own. He's been talking over the judge, repeatedly asking relevant questions, refusing to follow directions regarding picking the jury. Let me play you a small example of just how these interactions have gone.
Mr. Brooks, I need to move on to the jury instructions. Are you willing to participate in this process right now?
No, I am not. And I don't give consent without me being present in the courtroom, like I said before I was brought over here.
Would you like to come back over?
So why would you ask me that? Why would you ask me that?
Mr. Brooks, you were put over in that courtroom because of your disruptive behavior. If you can agree to abide by the rules of decorum and courtesy, then I will bring you back over here at any point in time. Did you hear me advise you of that, sir?
No, I did not.
So we were supposed to have opening arguments this morning. That hasn't happened yet. In front of the jury, that hasn't happened. Brooks has repeatedly been removed to a separate courtroom to participate via video because of his behavior, including this morning. He interrupted proceedings yet again by taking off his shirt, clashing with the judge. She accused him of making a mockery of the judicial process. Yesterday, the court convened to go over some housekeeping items. It was supposed to be a short session. It lasted for 4 hours. He claimed he was feeling sick, that he might have COVID. The prosecution accused him of trying to delay the trial, pointing to phone conversations he had with his mom saying that he was going to try to delay the trial. And so, yeah, we have not seen opening arguments yet. This has been a wild televised trial that's barely begun, Erica.
Welcome to Straddled Events. On this channel, we bring you the truth. Sometimes the truth is quite ugly, unbearable, and you just don't want to deal with it. But on this channel, you're going to get it anyway. You are straddling between the fence of good versus evil, right versus wrong. And on this channel, we're going to tell you to do better. Let's go. Please subscribe to the channel. It is free. Like or dislike the videos. Thanks.
The origin of Mr. Brooks' rage that day. A violent domestic argument with Erica Patterson, his former girlfriend and the mother of his child. And on the day in question, November 21st of 2021, the defendant showed up in Waukesha in his red Ford Escape that she knew he drove, and he argued with her, and he harassed her, and he punched her in the face. And the thing about a swollen eye is it's tough to fake. And at some point, after she was struck, after she sustained that injury, Erica called her friends because she needed help. And she had no one else to call. You're going to see how the defendant was reacting that day. You're going to see what he looked like, what he was wearing, the red Ford Escape that he was driving. You're going to see how the defendant reacted once Erica's friends showed up and he lost his physical advantage over a woman.
Did you guys live in the same area off and on during that time?
Sustained.
Out of the 16 years you said it was, correct?
Yes, off and on, Mr. Brooks.
How much of that time did you actually spend with the alleged defendant?
Sustained. Also under 906.11 sub 1 sub C. Move on.
Do you remember what you reported on November the 21st?
That me and Mr. Brooks, I met with Mr. Brooks at Frame Park. Me and Mr. Brooks got into an altercation. You hit me. I jumped out of your car and I walked and met my friend Corey. You followed me. And then after that, Nick and Miss Corey, they called the police officers. And then you drove off. I just answered your question on the exact time.
Were there any separations or gaps during that time?
Sustained.
Why did you leave Georgia?
We were coming out here for 2 weeks, and I never went back.
Can you state why you never went back?
Number one, I came out here, I didn't have money. Number two, I had no way to get back. And you were always, Mr. Brooks was always physical.
So at any time were you ever offered money to go back to Georgia, or did anybody at any time ever?
No.
Did anybody at any time ever lend any help to help you go back to Georgia?
No.
Did you, to the best of your recollection, did you want to go back to Georgia?
Sustained. Next question, please.
Why didn't you file a report with law enforcement on November the 20th after you alleged that you were abused?
Because I've been dealing with it for so many years, I just didn't do it. I don't see what this has anything to do with this case.
How long have you known the alleged defendant again?
Since I was 15. I'm 32 now.
Would it be fair to say that you lived in different states from the alleged defendant?
Yes, but
I'm sorry, I thought there was.
I was going to object and ask for clarification on the timeline there.
I'll sustain the objection, rephrase the question.
I was going to get to that, Your Honor. Would it be fair to say that during the duration of the time knowing the alleged defendant that the majority of that time you did not live in the same area or state?
Yes, off and on. I met Mr. Brooks in Reno, Nevada. I moved out of Reno, Nevada in 2017 to Atlanta, Georgia. I moved Mr. Brooks throughout. I've known him throughout, back and forth, off and on. The whole 16 years, me and Mr. Brooks were not together, but it was off and on.
Well, you said that during this time you were with the alleged defendant that there was a argument going on. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
Do you remember what that argument was about?
He was arguing with me about money because I did not bail him out.
Are you aware that the alleged defendant in fact has no mother of any child that lives in the city of Waukesha?
Objection. If Mr. Brooks wants to testify, he should do so in a different state of the trial.
Sustained. You don't need to answer that.
Yes, ma'am.
And during that time, did you make any disparaging remarks or anything to entice the argument to escalate?
No.
So So you didn't say anything at all during your 30 minutes with the alleged defendant?
No, because I was crying the whole time because Mr. Brooks was yelling at me, arguing with me.
So you said absolutely nothing at all?
I was crying the whole time.
Did you say anything?
No.
Would it be fair to say that when you told the alleged defendant where you were, that the alleged defendant knew exactly where you were?
Yes.
And how would the alleged defendant know that?
Because Mr. Brooks already knew Waukesha. He knew exactly where to go.
Did you at any time give directions where you may have been?
How could I give directions when I barely knew Waukesha myself?
Is that a no?
That's a no, sorry.
It's okay. Thank you.
So, do you recall what you reported that day?
I told them about the 20th when I met with Mr. Brooks, and all we did was argue. And you hit me then too.
So, you reported incidents for 2 days in a row.
Yes.
Do you remember the reason why you were meeting up?
I just said why.
So it would have been just to conversate,
Just to conversate.
Would it be fair to say that you could have communicated strictly by the phone?
Yes.
Under 906 11 sub 1 sub C, the objection is sustained. Next topic, if you have one, Mr. Brooks.
You said that you came to Wisconsin from another state. Would that be fair to say?
Atlanta, Georgia, yes. June 13th, 2021.
What message do you have for the families that are left of the victims who died?
I just want them to know that that was not a deliberate act.
But the video shows him going and not stopping. How some people will ask, how is that not deliberate?
I asked him that question. And he said, Mama, I don't know. He said, I don't know what I was doing. I don't know. He doesn't know. He can't answer that. I wished the police could have shot out the tires, something. But he can't tell me, I can't tell you. Only God knows.
Is he remorseful?
We talk about the families often and the victims. And he says to me that he prays for them too. And he has to live with the fact that 6 people died because of him. He feels ashamed.
Do you feel responsibility that...
Yes. If I would have just not bailed him out, none of this would have happened.
If he feels remorse, why the antics in court?
The antics in court is mental illness.
Is there anything you can say to tell him to stop?
I have told him.
Will you continue to?
I will continue to tell him.
Do you think Darrell should go to prison, and if so, how long?
There should be some accountability to what he did. Yes, ma'am. How long? That's not for me to say.
That was Mary Stoker-Smith reporting from our affiliate in Milwaukee. Darrell Brooks faces 76 charges, including 6 counts of first-degree intentional homicide. Each homicide charge carries a mandatory life sentence.
And that he objects to being here. I know he's filed a number of documents previously related to that. Those documents are of record. There's another document that's filed. At least 2 more interruptions just now. I believe I'm up to 8. Mr. Brooks, you're advised that continued interruptions will result in you forfeiting your right to be present in this courtroom, where you'll be taken to the courtroom next door to appear by video and audio means to participate.
To being removed from the courtroom, Your Honor.
That's another interruption.
And you haven't shown me any lawful case law that I can be removed from the court proceedings in a trial and forced under coercion and duress to appear in the trial that I am needed, that I've tried to express that I have the right
Mr. Brooks, there's a proper manner in which you raise objections. You have not followed that proper procedure. You are unable or unwilling to abide by simple rules of civility. You interrupt, you don't wait for anyone to finish, and it will result with you being removed from the courtroom. So you are once again reminded of that. I'm going to give a little slack at the moment only because we are not in the presence of the jury. I'd like to go through a couple of things, the first of which is the jail attire. Mr. Brooks, we, meaning myself and the jail, have made arrangements by allowing folks to bring in street clothing for you. You've appeared previously in a suit and tie, very appropriate for a trial. If you no longer have those clothes available, the jail has a supply of clothes that they can also lend to an inmate. The reason we make those arrangements during trial, sir, is because this court has taken a number of steps to shield from this jury that you are in custody. Your hands are not shackled. Okay, there are skirts around each one of the tables. I'm aware of the feet shackles. That's yet another interruption. I'm aware of the shackles on your feet, and that's why the skirts are on your table and frankly all of the tables, right? So that it appears to be the same for anyone coming in and viewing. Again, arrangements have been made for you to appear in street clothes or civilian clothes. I would like you to appear in street clothes, and the reason why, sir, is to reduce or even eliminate even the appearance that you are in custody. And it is your choice, though. Are you willing to go back to your cell and put on your suit?
It is my right to do so or to not do so. And at this point, Your Honor, who doesn't know that I'm in custody?
Mr. Brooks, I've had many trials with individuals who were in custody, and when I've talked to the jurors after the conclusion of the case, they had no idea. The whole point of allowing for street clothing is not only to shield jurors from the fact that you are in custody, but also you being in a suit and a tie or other street clothing, I think also lends to the dignity of the proceedings. This is a trial. Again, it is your choice. Are you willing to go back to your cell and be dressed in the street clothes that you previously appeared in?
With all due respect, I do not agree with that assessment whatsoever. There's no possible way that anybody will not know that I am in custody. I think that's a well-known fact because it's reported on every day in the media. It's shown every day on the news where I am, what jail I'm housed in, and that I'm in custody. It's virtually impossible for anybody to not know that I'm in custody.
Mr. Brooks, did you hear the question that I asked you?
And I respectfully keep the position that I just put on the record.
Mr. Brooks, I will ask you again. Are you willing to go back to your cell or into the jail and